And so those American blood, that American blood is on your hands, Lindsey. It's on your hands. It's on Donald Trump's hands. It's on Pete Hegseth's hands. It's on Marco Rubio's hands. It's on Jared Kushner's hands. Are we talk about Jared a little bit? It's on all y'all's hands. It's on Benjamin Netanyahu's hands too. The blood of those Americans are on your hands because guess what? Iran did not start this fight. Y'all did. Y'all sent them into harm's way. Y'all got them killed. This is exactly why they're dead. Ugh. Lindsey Graham. I'm sorry, guys. I got to talk about him. But Lindsey Graham, Trump's sycophant, neocon, warmongering, just this morally repugnant human being decided to go on Fox News and talk to Maria Bartiromo. Maria, he did. Look, Lindsey and Maria decided to kiki on Fox News. Let me just put it like that. All right. And they decided to kiki over war. I think there's three things that Lindsey Graham probably likes. Is war, sequins, and Judy Garland. That's not in that particular order. But let's get into this because I'm sick and tired of these people. Because between him and Trump, they are literally trying to make sure that we all get destroyed. Let's talk about this. This is going to be a segment of segments, y'all, because I am sick and tired of these warmongering fools. But unfortunately, because I'm in the business of that I'm in, I got to talk about these people. All right, let's go.
Joining me now in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, which shapes the overall spending, as well as a member of the Appropriations Committee, which decides how money is actually spent. Senator, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And I want to get your take on all of this. $1 billion a day. Oil prices up 27% in a week. You've got the president wanting a $1.5 trillion defense budget in 27. The idea that the Pentagon is about to come to you for $50 billion on these strikes to Iran. How are you going to answer?
Best money ever spent. Was it worth to America to take down a religious Nazi regime who's trying to build a nuclear weapon to deliver to America? That's a really good investment. They're going to fall.
Hang on. First of all, let me say this. You want to talk about a religious regime that's trying to get a nuclear weapon. What about a religious regime that already has a nuclear weapon, that already has the world staring down the barrel of a gun? They have over 700 military bases, and they're surrounding some of the poorest nations on earth because they want their resources. And then they have a very ultra religious evangelical regime that oversees the operations in the government, that is owned by big corporations and billionaires who like to commit cannibalism as well as sexual assault, including of minors. And then they also are involved with the mob, allegedly. And they're also allegedly involved in harming people to get them out of the way. Not to mention, whenever the people rise up and try to protest against them, they send an occupied military force to harm them, or maybe even, allegedly, murder them. Wouldn't you say that that's a regime that needs to be stopped? Just asking a question. Just ask a question. Asking all them questions, making statements, assuming.
Oh, it's not if the regime falls, it's a matter of when. And you didn't mention today And nobody has, quite frankly. We now know they had enough 60% enriched uranium to make 11 bombs. What's that worth to America to make sure they don't have 11 bombs?
That's a very specific number. Why 11 bombs? It's kind of funny because it's just like, wait a minute. How long have you guys been saying? How long has Netanyahu been saying Iran is close to having a nuclear bomb within 2 weeks? In 3 weeks, Iran will have a nuclear bomb. In 2 seconds, Iran's about to have a nuclear bomb. Look, they're about to have a nuclear bomb. 30 years later, they don't have anything. And people go, oh, because we didn't allow them. No, if they wanted one, they would have had one already. James, don't go on a tangent. Just let him speak. Let him speak. God.
America to make sure they don't have 11 bombs. All of this money is to make sure they never go nuclear, they can't hit us with ballistic missiles, and they stop terrorizing the region. When this regime goes down, we're going to have a new Mideast. We're going to make a ton of money. Nobody will threaten the Straits of Hormuz again. But Donald J. Trump saved the world from real chaos. Witkoff, the negotiator, was told by the Iranians openly that they've stockpiled enough 60% enriched uranium, 460 kilograms, to make 11 bombs. Thank God Trump did this. Can you?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Lindsey Graham here is lying to you. On top of that, their nuclear program is a civilian nuclear program, meaning that they just want to have nuclear power so they can charge their phones, watch their TV, and play Candy Crush on their tablets. Baby, they ain't concerned with no damn nuclear bombs. And by the way, just so anybody knows, they're doing quite the job that they set out to do on U.S. bases as well as in Tel Aviv without a nuclear bomb. But a lot of people, especially Fox News, ain't showing that. Okay. Let's continue.
Imagine a year from now, what would it cost America if Iran had 11 nuclear bombs to threaten us? They would hold us hostage. We would be held hostage in perpetuity by this terrorist regime. So the money we're spending is a good investment to take down a regime that's been the largest state sponsor of terrorism, has got American blood on its hands. And when this regime falls, it's not if, when, we're going to have a gateway to peace. And the next thing that will happen is Saudi Arabia will recognize Israel. And that will be the biggest change in 2,000 years in the Mideast. And Donald J. Trump is the man to make it all happen. He's the first president in 47 years to call the question on the Iranian regime. They're religious Nazis. We negotiated with them. They would not give up their enriched uranium. They would not pledge to stop making weapons that could hit America. They still fund the proxies. When this regime falls, there'll be no money for Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. What is that worth? So the money.
Damn. Lindsey Graham should be an OnlyFans model because how much butt kissing he's doing is ridiculous. Lord, oh Lord.
We're spending to take this regime down is going to make us safer. It's going to keep them from having nuclear capability down the road, and we will have a new Mideast where we make money. But it ain't about money today.
Wait. You said that twice. Lindsey, girl, you said that twice. You said, oh, we're going to make a lot of money. That's what it's about. Lindsey, do you really want me to go into my former evangelical bag? There's a scripture that says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. I wonder what that's about. I ain't saying he a gold digger, but he ain't messing with no chaos agent. That's exactly what Lindsey Graham is. Because he's performing for money. It's for money. Sorry. I'm allergic to bullshitters. But here's the thing. If Iran actually had a nuclear weapon, would we be where we're at right now as far as going to war with them? I don't see no warplanes flying over North Korea. Do you? I don't see the United States committing mass casualties and bombing all girls' schools in DPRK. Do you? It's as if, because North Korea has a nuke, that the United States doesn't actually want any smoke from North Korea. But yet they're so willing to go up against Iran. Why is that? And Lindsey Graham is just dancing for Trump. He's dancing for Trump. He's like that Tina Turner song. I'm your private dancer, dancer for money. Do what you want me to do. That's what Lindsey Graham is. He's Trump's private dancer. And it's weird. It's this neocon wet dream that he has for destruction and violence just so he can make a few extra dollars. Lindsey, you don't need to do that. You already make enough money in the Senate to make your sequin dress. Come on, baby. Anyways.
It's about 6 Americans who died in the defense of our country. Now, to our Arab friends.
Wait. Those 6 Americans that died is because you guys decided to go up and start a fight with Iran that was completely unnecessary because they did not have any nuclear weapons. They weren't trying to do a nuclear weapons program because there is a fatwa against having a nuclear weapon that Khamenei said, no, by principle, we shouldn't have any nuclear weapons. And they said that they weren't ever going to develop one, and they didn't want one. But that doesn't mean that they didn't want nuclear power plants in order to be able to have electricity, which is what they were trying to do. And so those American blood, that American blood is on your hands, Lindsey. It's on your hands. It's on Donald Trump's hands. It's on Pete Hegseth's hands. It's on Marco Rubio's hands. It's on Jared Kushner's hands. Are we talk about Jared a little bit? It's on all y'all's hands. It's on Benjamin Netanyahu's hands too. The blood of those Americans are on your hands because guess what? Iran did not start this fight. Y'all did. Y'all sent them into harm's way. Y'all got them killed. This is exactly why they're dead. Because you pushed them into that war zone. You surrounded Iran with those bases. And then you kept pushing them because you wanted to do exactly what you did in 1953 all over again. Because you wanted some puppet to do whatever you said so that you guys can get those oil and resources so y'all can make more money. That's all it's about. Chaos agent. That's all he is.
As you're being hit too, has any Arab country struck Iran? Now, if you want a treaty with the United States, you need to get in this fight. Now, America's not going to the Mideast just to fight alone. So I'm urging our Arab allies to fight back. You're being hit too. So how does this end? It ends with victory. Donald J.
Hold up. Lindsey Graham is speaking as if Iran's just indiscriminately bombing its neighbors because even though they have nothing to do with it. Oh, baby, they're the ones that allow American bases to be built on their land surrounding Iran. And it was the bases that were hit by Iran in those respective countries. That's what happened. So it's not like, oh my God, Iran's going after civilian populations in Saudi Arabia and Oman and UAE. No. Iran is not like America. They don't go after civilians. Not like that. And so that's the crazy part, right? And I think it's important that we look at this from a perspective outside of the narrative of what the United States tries to tell us. Let's continue on. So this is lies upon lies.
Trump is going to bring this regime down. It's going to be replaced by something more friendly to the United States. It's going to open up the biggest deal in 2,000 years where Saudi Arabia and Israel not only recognize each other, they will do business. Trump's a man of peace and business. Finally, Venezuela and Iran have 31% of the world's oil reserves. We're going to have a partnership with 31% of the known reserves. This is China's nightmare. This is a good investment, and we should applaud our men and women in the military who are doing something I've never seen done before, decimating a brutal enemy in 9 days.
Really great points all around, Senator. I don't know where to start. Number one, how are you?
Very good. Oh my goodness. Yes, very good, Senator. Yes, absolutely. Girl, bye. This is why corporate media is losing viewers. This is why. We don't need any media outlet that's going to be kissing up to the government. You're supposed to be holding their feet to the fire. Yet Maria Bartiromo she's giving him a foot massage. She's getting out the good oil and she's like, yes, sir, absolutely. Oh, I don't mind the smell. It's okay. Yes, you walked over some dead bodies of children, but it's all right. As long as my contract with Fox News, the check keeps coming. Yeah. Get him some champagne. Oh, gosh. This is why you need to support independent media, because independent media is going to actually call this stuff out. But this is why Maria Bartiromo is actually where she's at in Fox News. This is why.
For decimating a brutal enemy in 9 days.
Really great points all around, Senator. I don't know.
Look at that smile. She's smiling about it. Warmongering. Oh my gosh. We're back in 2003 in Iraq war again.
Points all around, Senator. I don't know where to start. Number one, how are you going to better secure the Strait of Hormuz so that we don't see more spikes in the price of oil? Number two, are you telling us you want the United Arab Emirates and the Saudis to lash out and strike Iran right now?
I want them to get in the fight. We sell them weapons. Iran is striking their country. They have good capability. About the Strait of Hormuz, what if the regime fell? then you never had anybody in Iran in the future that wants to close the strait. What if you had Iran with people who don't want to build a nuclear weapon to kill us all? What if you had Iran in the future that doesn't support Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis? That's where we're headed. Donald J. Trump is going to bring this terrorist regime down. We're going to have partners in Iran, and we're going to open up a gateway to peace. This won't fix itself. Every other president has talked about doing it. President Trump is in the process of doing it. They're going to lose, and we're going to win. Israel and the United States, you just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks, meaning what?
We're going to blow the hell out of these people. This
Ain't he a piece of work? I know y'all. I know y'all are like, did he just say that? Did he just say that? I'm telling you. Dude just went Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. Off with his head. Oh my goodness. That's why I say chaos agent.
We're going to blow the hell out of these people. This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees. It's going to fall. And when it falls, we're going to have peace like no other time. We're going to have prosperity unlike anyone could ever imagine. Peace brings prosperity. You can't do it by talking. The Democrats criticize this operation. They didn't do a damn thing. These men and women in the military should make us all proud.
And they have already. Number 3, real quick, are you going to support the president's request for $1.5 trillion budget defense in 27? And will you respond yes to a potential supplemental defense package of $50 billion from the Pentagon?
Yes to both. We need it. We want the strongest military to end the wars quickly. Look what we're doing here. We've lost 6 soldiers.
Okay, so he said yes to $1.5 trillion in defense spending. That means that's $1.5 trillion that you don't get for housing, healthcare, education. That means that's $1.5 trillion of the money that you are supposedly over as American citizens, as federal dollars, that's not going to make sure that you can afford groceries. That's $1.5 trillion that will make sure that you don't have any type of support when it comes to your electric bill. That's $1.5 trillion that will make sure that you don't have any support when you go to pump the gas inside your car. That's $1.5 trillion that you don't have that's going to make sure that your job still isn't stiffing you with your hours or how much you get on your paycheck. It's $1.5 trillion that's going to make sure that we still are subject to Israel. $1.5 trillion. And then an additional $50 billion on top of that. So that is the words of a chaos agent. Let's end it. Let's finish up.
God bless them. We're devastating the enemy. I'm not looking for a fair fight. If we get in a fight, I want to win it. I want to win it quick. I'm in Miami. You see this hat? Free Cuba. Stay tuned. The liberation of Cuba is upon us. It's
free Cuba from whom, though? Because they had their revolution. And if you really want to free Cuba, then you would end the sanctions, the blockades, and the embargoes and let them just be. If you really want to free Cuba. See, this is the problem with people like, Lindsey Graham, is the fact that he is so he Golly, this guy sniffs his own farts. This is the problem with you have neocons like this, is he never met a war he didn't like. He never met a conflict he didn't like. And sometimes I wonder, has Lindsey Graham ever been in an actual fight before? Because it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not like what you see. This ain't Walker, Texas Ranger, dude. This ain't something you just watch on TV. And yet you're so willing to put people in harm's way just for the billionaires to have more. It is crazy to me that you have this guy giving this message on Fox News, and then people are sitting there wondering, oh, well, why don't Americans support our war effort? This is why. And make no mistake about it. Because just because the Republicans say it overtly and explicitly doesn't mean that the Democrats don't support it. They do. It's just more covert and implicitly. This is why they got approved for a $1.5 trillion defense budget. And it's going to go through because they want the big corporations, they want the parasite class to get that money. War is lucrative business. Very lucrative.
Just a matter of time now. You see this at? Make Iran great. President Trump said the only way to make Iran great is for the people to take over. We're marching through the world. We're cleaning out the bad guys. We're going to have relationships with new people that will make us prosperous and safe. I've never seen anybody like it. This is Ronald Reagan plus. Donald Trump is resetting the world in a way nobody could have dreamed of a year ago. He is the greatest commander-in-chief of all time. Our military is the best of all time. Iran is going down, and Cuba is next.
All right. Well, we'll be watching what's next on Cuba for sure. Got a lot of hats there. The president's got a lot of balls in the air. Senator, thank you very much.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say, because if I say it, then I might just get a strike on YouTube. That's Lindsey Graham. I want to share what is going on the ground. Because a lot of people aren't talking about this, but should be noted that these countries that Lindsey Graham said that they should be getting into a fight because Iran struck them, it's because they have bases and Iran struck the bases. So let's take a look at this. Uh-oh. Okay. So in a video uploaded to his YouTube channel responding to U.S. and Israel's war in Iran, American commentator Tucker Carlson said that Israel wanted to hurt Gulf countries such as Qatar, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait by providing Iran into attacking U.S. military targets based there. So let's listen to this, and then we shall talk about it on the other side.
Now, that wasn't a risk from the Israeli standpoint. That was the point. That was the point. They wanted to diminish the Gulf, and in 2 days they have. And I think anyone who likes decency and order and cleanliness is hoping that the Gulf will recover. The Gulf is not a threat to us. We have military bases in these countries. These are some of our closest allies. All of them are closer allies than Israel, by far. They're our friends, but they've been really hurt. And in a place like Dubai, which is basically part of a country. It's an emirate within the United Arab Emirates, but it's also a luxury brand, basically. People go to Dubai because it's beautiful and rich and clean, and above all, because it's safe and orderly. It's got the busiest airport in the world. You start seeing video on Instagram of smoke in the Dubai airport, and you're like, I think I'm going to Cabo this year. Oh, sorry, drug cartels. Whatever. Maybe you go to Sedona this year. It really, really hurts these countries. And Israel wanted to hurt these countries. That's the point. Wanted to hurt these countries. Wanted to sow chaos and disorder because they are rivals of Israel. So it's probably hasn't been reported, but it's a fact that last night in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, authorities arrested Mossad agents planning on committing bombings in those countries. Now,
wait a minute. Oh, you guys need to get into the fight because Iran is attacking you guys. Meanwhile, Mossad, which are the CIA equivalent in Israel, is planting explosive devices in these countries. Why? Why in the world would they be so willing to do that when they're supposed to be catering to them and going, hey, come into the fight and fight on the U.S. and Israel side? Well, why would you be planting bombs in their countries if you're trying to get them onto your side? People want to know. Baby, it's all coming out, It's all coming out. Let's continue.
That's weird.
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would the Israelis be committing bombings in two Gulf countries, which are also being attacked by Iran? Aren't they on the same side? No. Israel wants to hurt Iran and Qatar and UAE and Saudi and Bahrain and Oman and Kuwait. And they've succeeded.
I'm making a speculation here, but I think that Israel wants to harm the United States too. Yeah. They'd rather United States blood being spilled instead of their own. And Iran is targeting the military bases. Israel's Mossad agents were targeting civilians. See what I mean? And so you got to look at the way Israel and the United States, how they conduct themselves. This is Senator Blumenthal saying something very concerning. Let's get into this.
I emerged from this briefing as dissatisfied and angry, frankly, as I have from any past briefing in my 15 years in the Senate. I am left with more questions than answers, especially about the cost of the war. My questions have been unanswered, and I will demand answers because the American people deserve to know. And I guess I am most concerned about the threat to American lives of potentially deploying our sons and daughters on the ground in Iran. We seem to be on a path toward deploying American troops on the ground in Iran to accomplish any of the potential objectives here. And there is also, as disturbingly as anything else, the specter of active Russian aid to Iran, putting in danger American lives. Literally, Russia seems to be aiding our enemy. actively and intensively with intelligence and perhaps with other means. And China also may be assisting Iran.
Let me stop there for a second. So let's take this in two parts. So potentially there will be a ground invasion in Iran. US troops, your kids, the kids of your neighbors, the kids of your friends, maybe even some of your siblings, if you have siblings that are involved in the military. So far, it's being reported that I think 6 or 7 American soldiers, service members have been killed. Right? I think it's underreported. I think there's probably more. But they just don't want to say because they need to keep the numbers reported to be low so that Americans don't come into an outrage and start demanding into this war more largely. But they are literally being sent to die. And then they will say, oh, well, and when I get to Donald Trump's press conference, he's going to be like, oh, well, we're winning this war and we've destroyed so much of them and we're doing great and blah, blah, blah. Baby, that's not what I'm hearing on the ground. The streets are talking right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, the U.S. bases around in the Gulf, as well as Tel Aviv, they got their shit rocked. They did. That's what the streets are talking. That's what the streets are saying right now. And they don't want y'all to hear about it because if we heard about it, then we will go, wait, you're sending them into the slaughter. For who? For what? If Americans realized the dumpster fire that's going on right there, that was caused by Netanyahu and Donald Trump, and now they're going to send your kids, their kids, our kids into an unwinnable and a war zone that they will not live through. A lot more of y'all will be out in these streets. And that's exactly what's happening. And I find it quite convenient that a couple of years ago, that the government quietly created the automatic version of U.S. Selective Service. So basically, U.S. Selective Service, because here's how it goes. Every single male in the United States, you have to sign up for United States Selective Service by your 18th, after your 18th birthday. This is just in case they decide to reinstitute the draft. Then they will have the names and social security numbers of all of the males that are within fighting age in the United States. So I think it's typically between 18 and 26. Males is for males, right? And so they made it automatic, meaning you don't have to sign up anymore. Just as soon as you turn 18, when it comes to your social security number, you're already signed up for U.S. Selective Service. And so if Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth decide to reinstitute the draft, that means that they will be sending your children, willing or unwilling, to die for the Epstein class. to die on the altar of capital, to die for Israel. And that's exactly what's happening. I don't know if they're going to reinstitute the draft, but could it happen? Yes. I hope it doesn't, but I can see it happening. Let's continue and finish this up with Senator Blumenthal. Oh, and by the way, the whole thing about Russian feeding intelligence to Iran. Yeah, I heard that's true too as well. But the thing is that Russia serving intelligence to Iran basically means that they do not side with the United States or Israel when it comes to asserting your dominance and subverting the sovereignty and self-determination of people, because Russians don't like that and they don't want to see it done to anybody else. Subverting the sovereignty and self-determination of a people is wrong. And so if Russia's doing that, then they're doing that as a response to what the United States and Israel is doing. Same thing with China. They want international law to prevail. Problem is, the United States and Israel do not recognize international law. All right, now we can go back to Senator Blumenthal.
So the American people deserve to know much more than this administration has told them about the cost of the war, the danger to our sons and daughters in uniform, and the potential for further escalation and widening of this war, a war of choice made by this president, not chosen by the American people, with potentially huge consequences to American lives.
So I think that's one of the things that we have to caution. There is a lot going on right there. Hang on, let me share this as well, because God, there's some. I haven't even gotten to what Donald Trump said. And I need to, but I'm not gonna be able to do the whole thing because of the sake of time. But Donald Trump was trying to essentially end the war because of the economic implications that have been happening all over the country. Because oil rose from $70 a barrel to over $110 a barrel over the last couple of days. And they basically had to lie and say that things were getting better. And then because of what was said by them, even if it wasn't true, then the price of oil went back down. But Iran is staying the course. They're saying, no, this war ain't over and we ain't done fighting. Gosh, there's so much. It's one of those where it's like I have way more information than time. But let me see this. I really want to share this by Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, but let me just share a couple of things. So if you guys aren't following the Tehran Times on Twitter, if you are on Twitter, then I recommend it. I tried to look up the Tehran Times on Google, and when I tried to go to the Tehran Times, the link wouldn't allow me. It would time out every time. So I think they took down the Tehran Times website because they don't want Americans to actually look at what's going on the ground in Iran as well as in Tel Aviv. But we're going to take a look here. This is out of Tehran Times. Says excuse me, photo purportedly shows the destruction of a satellite communications center in south of Tel Aviv after it was hit by Iranian missiles. So this is one of them, right? So Tehran Times is on it. Let me share this. Breaking news: North Korea condemns illegal U.S. attack on Iran. It's like, despite the cold weather and snow, Iranians gathered at the capital, Tehran, to pledge their allegiance to the Islamic Republic's new leader, Ayatollah Sayyid Mojtaba Khamenei. Let me see here. A message from Yahya Sari, spokesman for Yemen's Ansarallah, to the people of Iran: you will crush the glory of America. It says Iran releases footage showing the launch of retaliatory missiles. This is all still going on, guys. It says, this is from, oh my God, the foreign minister for Iran, Sayed Abbas Araghchi, says U.S. officials posting fake news about Strait of Hormuz to manipulate markets. See, this is what I was talking about, guys. That's what I was talking about. And then massive crowds gather in the streets across Iran to support the military and pledge allegiance to the new leader. So they have a new leader now, who is the son of Khamenei. I'm just going through here because there's so much that I really want to go over, but I don't have the time to. U.S. Secretary deleted a post in which he claimed that the U.S. Navy successfully escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. This is what I was talking about. They were lying just to manipulate the markets so that it doesn't look as bad as it really is, but it is bad. So that's how bad it is going right now. But let me just quickly go over some of Trump's remarks. And of course, I won't be able to go through all of it, but I want to be able to go through some of it. Sacrificing myself, even though I'm still sick. Lord. All right, so let me share part of this press conference. So let's get into it.
And we've had tremendous success. But while we're doing all of these things, we're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of the sea. It's almost 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing has been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets, and we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it. If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to. But they're the kind of things that are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in one day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers and 83% drop in drone launchers. As you know, the drone launchers are pretty well shot, but we're at over 90% decline in the Iranian missile launchers, which is very hard to reproduce and very hard to get.
Okay, so let me share with you guys something, because I think this is really important. Because ultimately, Trump is blowing a lot of hot air, trying to make it seem like that he's winning a war, but in reality, he's actually losing. This reminds me of Wind Blow from Compound Enter the Fist. Whenever he's losing, he thinks he's winning. So therefore, he's like, I'm the first to draw blood. Therefore, I am the victor. But let's listen to what Scott Ritter has to say in regards to how the U.S. and Israel is doing.
But enter the Turks. You see, the Turks now, they have two facilities. They have one in Perinçlik near Diyarbakir. They have another one, I think, is Kirinjik, also near Diyarbakir. The Perinçlik facility is an old Cold War era facility used to track satellites. In 1997, we turned it over to the Turks. The Turks may or may not have kept it operational. I don't know. But it is capable of doing detection. Why? How do I know? Because in the Gulf War, we, the United States, used it to detect Iraqi missile launches to provide Israel with the detection of launch, time of flight, and possible impact. And so it was a valuable system. That system still could be used today to track the Iranian missile launches. Then there's the one in Kirinjik. This is a big X-band radar affiliated with the THAAD system. It's linked supposedly to feed data to Mark 41 Aegis Ashore missile defense systems in Poland and Romania. But now it's been repurposed, and because they have no more target acquisition, because the Iranians have taken out all the radars in the Middle East, the Turkish radars are now collecting the data and feeding them into the system. So you may ask yourself, why would Iran attack Turkey? Because Turkey is providing targeting data to the ballistic missile defense shield. And so Iran wants to basically make a note. Turkey is not an innocent partner party in this conflict. Turkey is an active participant in this conflict, and they're repurposing NATO facilities for America's use. This is not a NATO war. NATO is not participating in this war. Any nations that participate do so on an individual basis. So Turkey can't say this is a NATO function, therefore we're just fulfilling our NATO obligations. Turkey has become an active participant in this conflict.
So this is why a lot of these countries that are surrounded in the Gulf states are being attacked, because they are friendly with the United States. They have United States bases as well in their countries. And so Iran is attacking those bases to disrupt their intelligence gathering as well as their attack capabilities within the region. So, and then also, I'm not going to play this, but I want to share this tweet by Richard Medhurst, who is a friend to the channel. So Richard Medhurst actually shares this as well. Let me enlarge this so that people can see and read it. It says, Israelis no longer receiving proper warnings of Iranian strikes. Iran has wiped out the entire U.S. THAAD or THAAD and Patriot radar systems in the Gulf using $50,000 drones. It will cost billions and take a decade to replace. I pieced together all the satellite photos of the strikes and bases. So if you guys are not following Richard Medhurst on YouTube, his channel, he's also on Rumble as well. I highly recommend that you guys also follow people, follow Scott Ritter, follow Garland Nixon, follow Danny Haiphong, follow Richard Medhurst. Rania Khalek is great because she has a lot of ears on the ground as well. She's Lebanese, so she has ears on the ground there. There's so many people. Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson is also great. I wanted to share something that he said, but due to the sake of time, I won't be able to. But these are some of the voices that are great to be able to listen to as well. Let's get back into some of what Trump says. And I really want to get to the part where he's actually talking to the press, because that's going to be the big thing. But let me make sure I get to my right spot. Let me see here. So yes, let me get here.
And usually what we were able to do through great equipment, a lot of smart people, as soon as they sent a missile up from a launcher, we were able to knock out that launcher within a period of 5 minutes or less, accurately, right on the noggin. So now we have low-cost interceptors effectively combating Iranian drones, and our B-2 bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound bombs to destroy missile launchers all over Iran. And
wait, Don, does that also include the couple of Iranian schools for school children, particularly a girls' school that killed over 160 girls that were ages 7 to 12? Does that include that? Because that's what happened. In fact, you guys fired a Tomahawk missile at them. And in this press conference, Donald Trump was like, oh, there's many countries that have Tomahawk missiles. Yes, but many countries are not firing their missiles into Iran except for Israel, United States. So that tells me one thing, that one of y'all decided to fire a Tomahawk missile into a school for girls. And please don't tell me, oh my God, we care about Iranian women and girls and how they should have freedom, when you are willing to take them out with a missile. You don't care about Iranian women. Never mind the fact that Iran, 50% of Iran's population, 50% of the population of doctors in Iran are all women. And their highest graduation for college is women. You guys do know that Iran's a democracy, right? They literally vote for their president. They literally have a parliament. They do. And as far as supreme leader goes, the people who choose the supreme leader, oh, those guys are voted in. And the supreme leader is basically the religious leader, just like a pope. You know? We got problems with Iran, but we don't have problems with Italy or Vatican. Is it principles, or is it just Islamophobia? Is it just misplaced principles, or is it Islamophobia? Just asking the question. Let me move on here because I really want to get through this. All right. So let me see here. Yes. So 1539, let me make sure I get to this. All right, let's get to this question.
yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you talking
but soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and with respect
Very
to
soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are two levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But two levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
to Cuba, you said that Cuba wants to make a deal.
Yes.
What
Okay, hang on. You talked about the leadership is taken out. I just told you guys that they already got a new supreme leader, and it's the son of Khamenei. Hold on to that thought, because I'm going to return back to that, and Trump is actually going to contradict himself. Because he's like, their leadership is gone. Really? Because that's not from what I see. But he's talking about, it's going to be relatively short as far as the duration of how they're going to be fighting. I'm going to be honest with you. That's not according to their advisor, the military advisor. I'm just going to read this to y'all because this brigadier general, he's contradicting Trump. All right. Because Trump is full of baloney. Okay. It says IRGC advisor, Brigadier General Sardar Ibrahim Jabari says, as someone who is informed, I say this: we are prepared for 10 years of war with the United States, at least 10 years. They were ready for all the smoke.
اونها بدانن ما شاید بعضی ها اشتباه لفظی توی مصاحبه هاشون در داخل کشور داشته باشن، ولی من به عنوان یه آدم مطلع این رو میگم که ما برای 10 سال جنگ با آمریکا آماده هستیم، حداقل 10 سال. همین گونه که داریم موشک‌هامون رو، پهپادهامون رو استفاده میکنیم که انبارهای ما، ذخایر ما پر.
So of course I can't speak Arabic and I don't understand Arabic, but 10 years? They're ready to go 10 years? And Trump's like, it's going to be relatively short. Iran said, no, not today. They've been prepping for this for decades. Decades they've been prepping for this. Wow. They've been prepping for that for a long, long time. Now, I want to get to the contradiction. Let's go to this. All right. Share the screen again. And let's go to all right.
Do you have to take him out? Does he have a target on his back?
You mean the new supreme leader? You mean the son?
How can there be an Iran?
Well,
with
I don't want
Ayatollah?
to say that, but I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Wait, you just said you took out the leadership. You just said you took them out. And now you're like, well, I'm disappointed that they chose this leader. So do they or don't they, Donnie? It doesn't make any sense. This is the equivalent of George W. Bush showing up on a aircraft carrier with a big old banner behind him saying mission accomplished way back in 2004, 2005. Like, oh, we accomplished our mission. What? It's like that that athlete that's in front of all the reporters. And he goes, what? It is wild to me, the delusions of grandeur that this man has. Let's continue.
Thank you, sir. You've said you have someone in mind to be the new Iranian leadership, if not the Ayatollah's son. What are you looking for in that person? Are you looking at someone internal, given that you just said that their leadership has been
I like the
decimated and
idea
wiped
of internal and eternal, come to think of it. But I like the idea of internal because it works well. I mean, I think we've proven that so far in Venezuela. We have a woman, Delcy, who has been president of the country, very respected, she's doing a great job. and it's, no disruption. We had, as you remember, Iraq, where everybody got fired. The military got fired, the police got fired, the politicians got fired. There was nobody. And you know what they turned into? ISIS. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So I would like to see people that are inside go. Now they talk about the son of the Shah. They talk about other people, but, hasn't been there in many, many years. We have a formula that's been very good so far, and I think it'll continue to be good. The relationship is extraordinary with Venezuela, smart country. We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil. It's right now in Houston being taken care of and made so beautiful. And you have to see.
I can't stand hear him talking anymore, but he contradicted himself. So, one more thing, because I think this is also important. See, they don't want you to know how things are really going, because if they did, then you would realize that this is an unwinnable war. Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, Scott Ritter, Greg Stoker, all these military analysts have said the same thing, that this is an unwinnable war. But the United States doesn't want you to know that. But here's from Press TV. It says American company Planet Labs, after conferring with the U.S. government, has announced an unprecedented 14 days, 2 weeks, blackout on satellite imagery for West Asia, a move critics say is intended to conceal heavy damage to Israeli and U.S. bases following Iran's retaliatory strikes. They don't want you to see how bad they got hit. Let's read this, y'all. Due to the increasingly complex regional security environment, we're sharing an update to our data access restrictions in the Middle East. There are genuine concerns of use of Planet data over Iran, as well as an extended window of risk for recent imagery. After consulting with experts inside and outside of government, as we continue to balance operational security needs in our transparency mission, Planet has decided to take additional proactive measures to ensure our imagery is not tactically leveraged by adversarial actors to target allied and NATO partner personnel and civilians. As of today, we are making the following changes. Expansion of AOI. The designated area of interest has been expanded to include all of Iran and nearby allied bases, in addition to the Gulf states and existing conflict zones. 14-day delay. We're extending the delay for all new imagery, Planet Scope, SkySat, Pelican, and Tanager from 4 to 14 days before it becomes available to our commercial archive. It says we recognize that timely data is important to your operations and do not take lightly the decision to adjust our delivery protocols related to these services. Our technical teams manage these adjustments as a temporal buffer at the database level. Data is still collected and ingested, but is maintained until the safety window has passed. We will continue to actively monitor the situation and make adjustments only as needed to address the matters as they arise, but we intend to resume standard service as soon as safety and security conditions permit. Please reach out to your customer service manager, blah, 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 blah. Okay? As we appreciate your partnership and understanding as we navigate this complex situation. What we are learning from this process will be incorporated into our existing policies and protocols for active conflicts, helping us to best balance between safety and transparency. Best regards, Planet Team. So apparently, they don't want y'all to see how bad Israel and the United States got hit. Because if you knew, then that means you will be resistant to troops going in. And a lot of troops would say, yeah, we're not going. We refuse to go. And on top of it, I will show this photo too, because this is indicative of how bad it is. It is bad for Israel and the United States. This is out of Mint Press News. It says, breaking, Iranian ballistic missiles smash into targets in Tel Aviv. Israel initially claimed interceptions, but now there are reports of direct hits. And look at all that. This is it. This is Israel. See Jerusalem right there? Yeah. All that. All that. So, yeah. They got rocked. They got rocked. And they don't want you to know. There's so much more news in regards to this story that I want to cover, but due to the sake of time, I can't. I'm already over time. But look, keep an eye on this. And if you can talk people who are trying to enlist, talk them out, because it is not going to fare well. And you're not going to be protecting anybody. You're just going to be securing control to the parasite class. And there are organizations that are literally open for people who are military members who want legal and legitimate ways to exit or be conscientious objectors, since they already are in the military. And those numbers are being shared widely, because there's a lot of people who are service members that are realizing this is a unwinnable war, and they are sending our young people to die on behalf of a supremacist state and on behalf of wealthy parasites that want to strip the world of its sovereignty and agency. And we don't want to be part of it, because we need less death and destruction, and we need more solidarity. We need more egalitarianism, more dignity in our own country, instead of stripping it away from people abroad. And Lindsey Graham, shut up. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you'd like to see any more, you can look here. One, forehead kisses. Have a beautiful